Hey everybody!
Hello!
Hello.
Hello.
Happy Thursday, Monday to Friday. Welcome to our special edition podcast. Today it's going to be about modeling, photography, and possibly videography if we have time. Tips and tricks, and this could be cosplay or non-cosplay, so everyone could, benefit from this. So let's introduce everybody. We have Morgan Miller. He's a freelance photographer.
Hello.
Hey Morgan, how are you today?
I'm okay, a bit tired, but doing well.
He takes the most beautiful pictures of the stars and strawberry moons and all this good stuff and birdies. You would have a field day, by the way, where I live, because there's gorgeous birds everywhere. Like every day there's like a new bird. Like, oh, it's a cardinal, it's a robin.
That's always fun.
There was a rabbit the other day, and Santa and I were trying to chase it, giving it lettuce, and it didn't want it, and it was scared. He never came back. But anyway, then we have Erin Savino.
Hi.
Who is a cosplayer and a model, and also a part-time maid.
Being a waitress helped for that.
Yes, she works at Rita's. If you want to plug that, if you want a yummy icy, I would go for one right now. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, and if you're not there, I'll just be eating the toppings in the back, so I'll probably be narrating.
Okay. On the hush. And of course we have. Do you want to go by as Nero now?
Nero.
His name is Ichi. Nero of Breathing Veil. He does videography and photography.
Hi guys.
He is the videographer for all my events as of late. Past 3 or 4. She even did my daughter's birthday video, so he should have a lot of insight for us. Alright, so I'm going to get started, and what we're going to do is I'm going to get started talking to the photographers, and then the photographers are going to ask us, the models, questions. So we could have a little back and forth action going on. So I would say the first one is pretty simple. Morgan, how did you get into photography?
Are we talking about when I was a kid or more recently?
In general, like what sparked your interest, even as a little babe?
Well, when I was a kid, I went to a day camp that was nearby, Pine Grove Day Camp, and we had one of the old dark rooms, and the science teacher just gave me a camera, and I spent the entire day taking photos. I didn't really use a camera again until 2007, and back then it was just a shitty cell phone camera I was taking photos with, but a bunch of people liked my photography, and I saw that it made other people happy, so I decided to go further with it, and now I'm here.
That he is. He should be in National Geographic or something.
I'd like to be.
Yeah. Definitely look up Morgan Miller. He takes really beautiful nature shots. And next we have Anniver, same question. Yeah. You know what? I'll do photography and videography, so you can like tap in a little bit.
Well, all right. Well, for photography, well, it kind of blends in with my videography too. But I've been playing around with a camera all my life, and then around high school, when I got into music more, I decided that I wanted to record myself, playing guitar and all of that. And so I started with those little point and shoot cameras, and I was like, these video quality is terrible. So I was like, all right, so I guess I'm gonna buy a camera. And I look into cameras, and my mom goes like, all right, I'll buy your camera, but you have to buy something that you can also take pictures of the family. So I bought a DSLR, and yeah, that's exactly where it started. I started playing around with the DSLR, taking photos more often because it's easier. Whereas video is it consists of more preparation, at least my type of videography, and a lot more accessories. So I ended up taking pictures more often, and over time I just kept going and going and going and going and going and going.
right, cool. And let's see. So, Anniver, is there anything you would like to ask
Yeah,
us?
like,
I know.
well, what the hell made you decide to be a model?
Who do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
You.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, okay.
Like, how do you live it? How
Well,
do you live it?
but when I was when I was little, well, I was the only baby in the family. My dad raised me, and I constantly had my aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents always taking pictures of me. And actually, I kind of hated it sometimes, but I became like a ham. I would naturally pose as a kid. That's not really how I started getting into actual modeling. It was by accident. My husband, who was then boyfriend at the time, who I was managing, I would say he was trying to be a singer, and he had a album cover shoot, and the photographer, she had an extra dress around, and she's like, "Hey, you want to wear this? You know, take some pictures, have fun, or whatever." So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I put on the dress and I took like some kind of fun shots, and I liked it, and then I started doing stock photography, beauty, and all that stuff. It kind of came from there. I'm like, oh, let me like check this out. I actually enjoyed this, so that's how it happened.
And for me, it was more of just cosplaying and wanting to be these characters that I have loved so much from manga and anime. And it just looks so cool and frankly badass just to be in those cool positions and the same positions as those characters that I love so much.
So basically, cosplay and manga fueled it. Yeah, for me it was
Definitely.
later on.
Mhm.
So I'll go back to the photographers now. Now, is there a particular, let's say, camera that you enjoy or brand? I know this is usually fights break out because of this between photographers.
As
Morgan?
Morgan put it earlier.
Personally, my very, very, very first camera was actually a Kodak. And it was a Kodak point and shoot. It was a Kodak Z981, and it took. It had a high zoom lens, but it took like one photo every 6 seconds, and it made me want to tear my hair out at times. I went from Kodak to Canon, and now I'm using Nikon. I prefer the quality of the Nikon menu and camera itself, but it seems like Canon cameras take sharper photos. That's something that I've noticed.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest problem I had with Nikon is that it's very confusing because I'm so used to Canon, and I just don't can't navigate it. I guess it has to do with my inexperience with Nikon, but for me, my biggest thing between brands is that it has to be between Sony and Canon, where as a videographer, I want to lean more towards Sony because they do better in like low light situations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Canons have been stepping up lately, like a lot, with their C100 lines. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know there's a camera that just, I think it's either going to be released or just got released, that it's able to get such a high ISO number that it can basically see in the dark.
Better than the human eye. Yeah, that's the Sony
Yeah.
A7S. It was released, I think, 2 years ago. And yeah, I would love to own that, but it's freaking $1,500.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's really not. Actually, my friend actually has it, so I guess I could borrow it from him when I need it.
That would work. Yeah,
But
photography and videography is not a cheap hobby.
it's really not. But like, what I love about Canons is it has more options in terms of interchangeable lenses.
That's true.
Whereas Sony is better if you want to do automated stuff.
Yeah, even
Like,
compared to Nikon, Canon still
yeah.
has a larger selection of lenses.
Definitely. But hey, all of these cameras, like all of these companies, they're really stepping up. So it's getting harder and harder to choose between them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's at
one
the,
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, what it's at this point where it all when if you're going out to buy a camera for videography or photography, it really depends on what you want out of the camera and your budget. Those are the two things that really matter at this point because of just how far cameras have come.
Exactly. And one thing that I hear, like all the pro that I've spoken to, they all say like it's not the gear that makes your image, it's the photographer or you.
Exactly.
So don't worry about don't stress too much about the equipment you have.
Yeah.
Work on your skill.
Like I said, my first camera was a Kodak point and shoot, and one of my most popular photos was taken with that. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a shitty camera. You can get, even with a cell phone camera, you can get good shots if you know what you're doing. Of course, you're always going to get better photos on a DSLR than you will with a cell phone camera, but even now that's changing because the newest Samsung Galaxy phones and the newest iPhones have the capability of taking raw format photos, which...
Exactly, and they're starting to be more and more rolling out with those manual settings that photographers and videographers, like pro shooters, actually want.
Yep.
So they're starting to cater to pro shooters.
They're realizing that cell phones are a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
I personally love like the S6 and S7 for photos. I had this my S6 died, and I had this Droid one, and it sucked. And I'm like, I have to go back to S7. I can't. This is horrible. I can't take pictures with this thing.
I remember back when I first had a cell phone, I used to always lean towards Sony Ericssons because back then those used to be the best cell phone cameras.
Yeah.
And when I look back at them now, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not even a photographer, and the most important thing to me is the quality of the pictures when I get a phone. It's crappy.
No. For me, it has to be the screen quality.
The what?
Yeah, I mean the overall performance.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So Droid has really great battery life. I've always been known
for sure.
But other than that, it was my first smartphone though.
How often do you guys Photoshop pictures after you have taken them?
That's a good question.
There's a big difference between Photoshop and just light editing.
Yeah.
Photoshop is more for if you want to go more in depth with your editing, you're not either you'll take the picture with the mindset of doing things in Photoshop, or you'll take your photo and you won't like something, and for that you won't actually use Photoshop. You'll use something else. For me, what I do when I take a picture is I take my photo, and if I don't like, say, the lighting or the color, that can be easily changed in a Lightroom, and that's pretty much the extent that my editing goes these days.
I know for videography you change the colors and...
Oh, I used to, but then I realized my Canon camera, it doesn't, how do I say, it's a very technical thing, but the bit rate that it records and the format that it records in doesn't leave a lot of room for editing. So, yeah, I tried doing it the way I would do photos. It just doesn't work out.
It's the same with me. I haven't actually used Photoshop itself in about 3 years now. I just do all my editing in Lightroom, and I go into photography with the mindset of when I take the photo, if I look at it in the back screen of the camera, that's how I'm going to want it to look, and I just bring out what's already there when I edit. That's just how I do photos. I know there are a lot of other photographers who will Photoshop the ever-living hell out of their photos, and it's not, it still looks good. I think it's a personal preference with that one. Of course, well, you guys are models, you would know there are some model photographers who will spend 8 to 10 hours editing a single photo to make the skin look perfectly smooth, get rid of all blemishes.
Pick a bunch of benchmarks. I had a photographer that shot Coco. He's like, oh, you don't know all the cellulite.
Yeah.
Sorry, Coco. If you ever watch this, check down.
Personally, I don't do that. I prefer to leave, even model shoots, I prefer it to be natural. That's just my own personal opinion. I find natural beauty to be the best kind of beauty in every way.
For me, when I shoot, it's always about the end result, meaning like what that picture is going to be for. If it's for like just a photo shoot that I did at a convention, and I'm just gonna post it up on the web and just give it to people, yeah, then I won't go into more in depth and just fixing some lighting and color issues, but that's it. But if it's for like something for print or like posters, calendars, or an actual like set for somebody, then I'll go a little bit more in depth. Even adding like VFX to it, So yeah, for me it always depends on the end result.
I'd probably use Photoshop for that stuff, but I'm limited by hardware. My laptop, admittedly, can't even run Photoshop anymore.
Yikes.
So I'm a little stuck with that one.
Should I even mention GIMP?
I can't. It can't even run GIMP. I'm lucky it runs Lightroom at this point.
What is that? For those who have no clue what you're talking about.
GIMP. How do you say it? GIMP is basically.
Sounds bad.
Well, yeah, it does sound bad, but it's the free version of Photoshop. It does a lot of the same things, but the layout for all the menus is completely different.
Yeah, and if you're used to Photoshop, you'll be really confused.
Yeah, but it does the same thing and it's free.
Pretty much, yeah.
So.
It's like the what Android is to Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any question for us?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some models watching, or photographers watching.
I've got one. This is one I'm just thinking of off the top of my head. When interacting with photographers, do you prefer to take the lead yourself and pose yourself, or do you like it when the photographer tells you how to pose, or is it a little bit of 50-50? What's the best way to do it?
I would say both. First, I do what I want to do, and there's some photographers that automatically tell me as soon as I step on whatever. I can step out on the stage, I was gonna say, but they're like, do this, pose here, put your chest up, put your, and then some are kind of don't say anything. Automatically, I start posing, and then after a while, I'm like, okay, guys, do you have any ideas? That's usually what I do. But then some photographers, like I said, automatically they direct you off bat, like what to do.
I prefer, because each cosplay I have does have a little signature pose I like to do with it, so I like to do those first, and then I do like being told what to do, because I think the photographer generally does know best about what looks good in the picture.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, when you cosplay, as a photographer, I've seen a lot of cosplayers just putting on the costume, and that's the extent of their cosplay capabilities. And while I'm not knocking that, like I'm not putting you down for that, but if you're gonna cosplay somebody, in my own opinion, you should embrace their entire personality, and that's gonna bring your cosplay up to like level 9,000. So when it comes to like photo shoots, I want to see that personality come alive, and it just hasn't been happening a lot with my experience.
I can understand that. It's similar with when you do just regular model photography. When I've done model shoots in the past, I try to get the person to act. Of course, there's the professional posing, hands on hips, all that fun stuff. But I also try to get some photos of them being themselves. I tell them to just be yourself, have fun, do what you would do if a best friend was taking a photo of you, because those normally end up being the best shots.
Exactly. And me personally, when it comes to model shots, I like freezing action. if the term itself isn't very clear, it's basically I tell them to be very active. A lot of models may not be down with that, but they have to be at least a little bit active for me to actually capture something interesting, because the very epitome of did I say epitome? The very essence of photography is freezing a moment into well, it's not paper anymore, but before it used to be paper. But yeah, you get the idea.
You're capturing a moment, a frozen moment in time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's normally a moment that you can't see because too many other things are happening.
Exactly. So that's what I want to capture. So when you're standing there holding a pose, that's fine and all, but I want to see more. I want to see models do more in their cosplay or not in cosplay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
The best.
run, skip.
Yeah. The best pictures generally capture the character of that character. For instance, in a few months I'm going to be cosplaying the main Yandere girl from School Days.
Yeah.
And we're going to add fake blood. We're going to add everything just to add the action into the scene.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where props come into play. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to have props, don't just stand there holding a prop. Do things with it. Know what I mean?
There is something that I did see recently. There was I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the best I can. My memory is horrible. My memory is worse than a goldfish.
Actually, goldfish has been proven to have
well, yeah,
better memory than.
you remember for about 3 to 6 months. But it was a bunch of people who were, and of course we'll get into this later on in the podcast. There were people knocking on cosplay photographers and cosplayers because their photos either weren't edited or they had just regular backgrounds. Like you could see in the background there were, that they were at a convention, and there were people saying, "Oh, that's not professional." Like that, that's still part of the cosplay. That's still part of the convention. There's nothing wrong with having that as a background. It's, that's still part of it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to. I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't agree with you, because for me, having backgrounds like that, it kind of deters the attention away from the cosplay.
Yeah.
And yeah, once in a while that's okay, but most of the time when I want to do a solo shoot, I want the background to complement the
well,
cosplay.
yeah, you don't have like 500 people in the background, but like if you're let's say you're at a convention and there's a brick wall nearby. Using the brick wall, it's still okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
Of course, yeah.
And
sometimes you just can't help it because you're at a convention and they're going, they're doing their own thing. You don't want to.
How did he get in here?
Hi, Eugene.
Hi, Eugene.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
What's up, guys?
As I was saying, like, you're at a convention and the person that you want to take photo of, they're doing their own thing, so you don't want to take too much time from them,
Yeah.
So sometimes you just can't help it.
That's EMCP. It's okay from the link.
I think that was in the chat from earlier.
Oh.
Wow.
Of course he's invited. I didn't think he would come. That's why I'm surprised.
I know link.
Oh, you did. I was like, I didn't get this out to anybody.
So funny. No, I was originally gonna be, there on time, but I was getting my hair cut. I'm on my way to something right now, and I couldn't make it. I couldn't make the links work. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
My Google Hangouts was completely messed up.
I think it's working now because we've had viewers. Hi, viewers. We love you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
No, I'm really just trying to figure out what were you guys talking about before I got here.
Okay, well, we were talking about basically if it really is photography, cosplay photography or whatnot, if you're shooting at a convention versus like a studio shoot or a one-on-one shoot, if it takes away.
Like if that's professional or not.
Yeah, if it's still like professional.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you guys have been, saying your experiences, but I mean, for me, most of my photography is, convention stuff. Like some of the most well-received photos I've taken have been like at Katsucon, which is like a madhouse. If any of you guys have been there, like it's 1 million people, but you just got to find a way to shoot around it, man. That's all.
Yeah.
You just gotta be creative, and that's all.
Exactly.
That's the main thing about it, being creative, despite all the hurdles.
Yeah, I think if it's like outdoors, like super small, but if it is between like a huge mass of people, it kind of takes away from like what's going on. Like believing in the cosplayer in the background. There's like a bunch of congoers around you.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, when you shoot at conventions and there's going to be like a crap ton of people, in the background, on the sides, they want to photobomb you and all of that stuff. You just got to plan for it. If you're going to be shooting at a con, just shoot really tight, get really tight headshots. I don't see a lot of that in people's cosplay, in people's convention work. I don't know why that is. Maybe they're a little like scared to get up close. What do you guys think?
Maybe they're shy. Like I personally know some photographers that are too shy to even ask models if they could take a picture.
Yeah, that would be me. That would be me here. Yeah, like I'm very wary about asking people because most of the time when I see a really good cosplay, they're walking away from me. So I don't want to be that one guy chasing people down.
Hell no, you gotta be that guy. You gotta run and jump on them and be like, listen, you look so amazing. I have to take your photo right now. That's what I do.
I mean, I'm getting better at it, but I don't feel good about doing it.
Yeah, that's not like for the most part, or congoers, we're not gonna say no. Like we want pictures. That's why I personally ask for business cards.
Exactly.
Look for it. Like we're not gonna. It could be like maybe we could have missed out on an amazing picture because you were too shy, or we could have been
Exactly.
friends or have like future.
I have had one person, reject the picture or video. The first. Sorry, what was that?
Something going on.
Yeah, I apologize for all of the random like street sounds and crap in the background of my microphone because like I'm on my way to a party right now, so I'm like walking and talking and people are like crashing cars and starting fights and punching people out and shooting guns in the air. So
what kind of town are you?
I'm in Queens right now. I'm headed back to the city to shoot an event. So
Alright.
yeah, so if I get too loud, I'll just like mute myself. All right, but
before there was like a lot of feedback going on.
Yeah.
Wait, are
Sorry.
you going to that K-pop thing?
What's that?
Are you going to that K-pop event?
Which K-pop event?
Never mind.
Like no, well, I mean K-pop is not really my thing. K-pop is not really my thing, but no, I'm covering an event for a fashion event for my mentor.
Okay.
He's gonna be. There's supposed to be a lot of really cool people there. It's in Soho, and the train is coming, so I'm gonna mute myself in just a bit because it's gonna get really loud. But I'm listening
I can
though.
already hear that.
How did you get into photography? Because you just stepped in, so I'm curious. Eugene?
Me?
Yeah.
I got into photography because I like pretty girls. No, I got into photography because I was originally trying to start like a modeling agency. I had no idea like what goes into creating a modeling agency. So originally I was just jumping into it full speed ahead. I had no plan. And then I realized that models need pictures. So instead of hiring a photographer to take the pictures, I decided to take the pictures myself. And, I really began to like it. And here I am.
All right, and Morgan had something he wanted to mention before. Do you recall what it is, Morgan?
Oh no, it was another topic that I'm typing in. I wanted to know if you wanted to talk about it or if you wanted to save it for something else.
Okay, what is it?
But I had a question. I had a question I was going to ask you. I can't remember the question now. Anniver, save me. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, okay, so this is for the models. When you go to shoots and, like you don't know the photographer, do you take a friend with you or, like, anybody with you? Or do you just, go ahead and just take that leap of faith?
I sometimes watch it off myself, just with photographers, but then other times, if the photographer takes me like really far away from the rest of the con, then I have a friend with me if I don't know the photographer.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of female photographers, especially when they're shooting a male model, they would usually have somebody with them. As kind of like a bodyguard because they have had problems, I guess. For it to be even relevant, they must have had some kind of problem with female models. But it's just something I was curious about.
Yeah. Generally, I'm pretty comfortable though with the photographers.
What about you, Jim?
I think when I was younger and I was starting out, I usually had someone with me, especially because the shoots were usually in New York City and I didn't know crap about it, and I would go to Brooklyn, Queens, and all the weird places.
I don't blame you.
So
in
I
those
had my
places,
friend.
yeah, I don't blame you.
Huh?
In those places, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and you never know, especially if you haven't really spoken to them before. I always advise, especially if you're younger and starting out, to always bring an escort. And usually the ones that don't allow you to, I'm always kind of wary about.
I can tell you right now, I literally can't think of a reason that a friend wouldn't be allowed to come with you.
Yeah.
If a photographer ever says, I want you to come alone, don't. Just don't go. Just if you do want to go, if you need to go, bring someone anyway. Because that sets off like 50,000 different red flags.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree with that.
Even if they're like, oh, I think your boyfriend's going to get in the way, or...
That doesn't matter. They can stand to the side if they're worried about that. They can stand behind the photographer.
For sure.
There's no excuse for it.
And for the past years, like before I got married, I needed to make extra money to pay the budget. So I went on like crazy amount of shoots, and I even did paid cosplay shoots and a bunch of stuff. And most of them were in my house. So my husband was like a few doors away. And I felt comfortable. And I think one of the photographers was still like a little weird, but nothing happened. It's just like some vibe I got. But obviously, I felt better that my husband was, a few doors away. So I really haven't traveled much to, like a stranger's house or something in a long time.
Have you guys had to deal with the atypical, I'm going to say sleazy photographer, but you know what I mean, the guy that's a little too much into the model?
Yeah, the one guy that I mentioned, like the way he was like, put your hand, not anywhere, I don't know exactly what he asked for. It just made me feel uncomfortable, like the way he was acting on how I was, and it was lingerie, I'm not gonna lie, it was lingerie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, and it was like, most of it was like parts modeling and stuff like that, but just something about him, I forgot what it was, but all I could remember is that he made me feel uncomfortable. Some of the way he was telling me to pose or the way he was saying things.
Yeah.
This one time at Anime Next, so I was with 3 guy friends, and this one guy pulls me over, and he has his laptop with him instead of a camera, which is kind of weird. And he's like, "Oh, can I take a picture of you?" So I'm in a Vampire Knight cosplay, so I go, get ready, pose, take a picture. But it wasn't a picture of me. He wanted a picture with me. So after I took the picture, he accidentally went back to all the pictures he had taken that day, and it was all of like girls showing a lot of cleavage pictures with him, girls like around my age. So it was really strange.
Mhm.
Yeah, I something like that.
Yeah, I think you should always, in any situation, especially modeling, always go with your gut. If you feel something is wrong or weird or get a strange vibe, like go with it. Don't like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know.
Better.
And
It's
I have
always
to
better
learn
safe
that
than sorry.
myself.
Right as soon as that happened, one of my guy friends, he's like 25, was like, yeah, come back with us now. And he was just in my area. That was such a creep.
Yeah.
Never again.
Speaking of creeps, I'm pretty sure there were a few times I've given that vibe, without meaning to, obviously. But I could understand, like, even like everybody, like all models, cosplayers, whatever, they're all trying to be careful. So I can understand their reaction when I tell them to do something certain ways, and me already being so weird with my words, like I can't always find the right words to say. So when no, but yeah. Um, this is more during while I was doing video, but there was one cosplayer who was wearing angel wings, and I wanted to get a shot of her from the back, looking back at the camera, to get the angel wings. But for whatever reason, she felt really uncomfortable doing that, so like she just said no. So
Yep.
yeah, obviously, like I right away understood like she felt weird, so I just let it go, and yeah, I never asked for her picture.
If
After
you're
that.
ever taking if you're ever not taking photos, if you're ever having photos taken of yourself and you don't feel comfortable, speak up, say something. I don't know many photographers personally who are going to be like, I don't care that you're not comfortable. Most photographers, if they're good people in general, if you're not comfortable with something and you say so, they'll stop. If they don't stop, you should probably leave.
Mhm.
For sure. Oh, on silent.
Someone didn't put their phone on silent.
Sorry, guys.
That's
Eugene actually wanted to give his 2 cents. He's going in the car, but he's reading. So he supports people bringing people to photo shoots, but sometimes he does think they get in the way. He also wants to say hi to Flo. He just realized that you're Flo. Which I said Geico or whatever. He says that it's all about charisma and confidence. If you're confident, a model will feel relaxed with you. And if you act unsure of yourself or act like you don't know what you're doing, the people you're working with will pick up on that as well. And he doesn't, okay. Let me tell him, he needs to do the chat in the podcast. He's doing it in the
Yeah.
in the Gmail.
Gmail. There's a Gmail cosplay.
Gmail.
Gmail chat.
Gmail cosplay.
Gmail cosplay. I want to see someone cosplay as Gmail now.
A giant envelope.
A giant envelope. No, can you imagine the spam folder? Oh.
I can imagine the spam folder being like in the back underneath my.
Yep.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna finish that.
Oh.
Well, now we got, one of us has to do that now.
I'll
mean,
do it. I'll
I,
do it if somebody does AOL.
I stay behind the camera. I don't go in front of it.
Could we have like Gmail, AOL, Hotmail? What else is there?
Mail.
Yahoo.
Oh, what's the other one?
I'll be Internet Explorer and not show up because I'm too slow.
There you go.
That's an easy one.
No, you show up at the very end.
Just see me like in the far back.
What about ICQ? Is it ICQ Messenger? I think it
Oh
was.
God, Trillion.
Trillion. Going real far back.
Oh man, we're old.
Oh, how about what was one? ICQ. That was another one.
That's what I just said.
Wait, you didn't say IMCP. You said something else.
I said ICQ.
ICQ.
Ah, okay.
What else was there? AIM.
AIM.
Well, Yahoo Messenger was cute. They used to have this one thing that was like, "Hello, Echo." Like it would have like these
Yeah,
little
those little
things that would go through.
Yeah. I remember one that says, "Hello, are you there? I can see you."
Oh,
And it was a cyclops with one eye. Or like, this is one I used to use very often. So, do you like fat guys with no money?
I don't know. But let's
It's one of those emotes.
to not lose our
Yeah,
audience.
sorry about that.
Oh, that's MSN Messenger.
I was gonna mention that. Yeah.
That's MSN Messenger that has
I
little
was
things.
fired off my first job because my husband, then friend at the time, kept messaging me
Okay.
from MSN.
Oh god. Well, now everyone has like Kik and Snapchat, and
I don't understand Kik. It's just texting. It's the same exact thing.
Kik is for people who share things that shouldn't be sharing things.
Yeah.
The way I see it, Kik is more like for people who don't want to give out their number.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it originally was for. That's what I used it for back a while ago, because if you weren't comfortable with someone giving your number, you could give them your Kik, and then you don't have to worry. But
Yeah.
so.
I don't even use Kik anymore. Well, I do.
So I have.
Very.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we're off topic. Get back on topic, please.
Yeah. I was gonna go back to the photography question. So for photographers, how do you deal with uncooperative models, Morgan? So have you ever dealt with that? Like your birds fly away, you're like, get back here, bird.
Well, for nature photography, you're kind of SOL if they decide not to cooperate. And that happens. Yeah, and I'm teaching my girlfriend how to do photography, and she's gone with me, and she's like, we take like 300 photos and only end up using 3, and I'm like, yeah, welcome to nature photography.
Yep.
You end up taking like 1,000 photos and using 10 because things just don't really cooperate.
That's just all photography.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
How about a model? I would
With
say.
models, I had one model a long time ago who was very. She wanted to do things her way or the highway, and it got to the point where I knew I would lose the shoot if I didn't just let her do what she wanted. And I've actually recently had a family shoot where it was the typical overbearing mother that just basically took control of everything and positioned everyone. And in situations like that, sometimes you just gotta step back and be like, all right, you can, I'll just take the photo. You can pose anyone anywhere you want. I'm gonna press a button. That's what I'm gonna do. But there are some times when you have to put your foot down and be like, no, I know what I'm doing. Calm down. You have to read people to figure out the best way to do it.
For sure. Kind of reiterating that overbearing mother. It's when I was trying to take pictures of a child, and the mother, they spent literally like there's something the child told me afterward. She spent literally like an entire day the day before teaching him how to smile for the picture.
Wow.
And every single time he would do it, it just looked so fake. And so plastic. And I wanted to puke. So, and even while I was taking the picture, the mother was like, watching over my shoulder, telling the child to, to do it like we practiced. Yeah, it's not natural at all. And the picture came out horrible.
That happened. Am I allowed to say where I previously worked? Is that okay?
Sure, it's up to you.
When I worked at the Picture People in I think it was Ocean County Mall, almost I'd say like 95% of the families we had come in, the parents were trying to be the photographers and we had a majority of them would even come in and start taking photos on their cell phone and stuff while we're trying to take photos that they're paying for, and it just becomes this entire thing where you actually kind of have to be mean and tell them to stop, but if you don't, you end up losing the sale.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, lesser of two evils in situations like that.
Well, the way I see it is if they're coming onto your set, they're basically using your equipment without permission because the background, the lighting, they are yours or your company's, and they're using it without permission. So I think in that sense, you have the right to say, tell them to stop.
And Eugene wanted to pitch in. He says, and Digi's here, yeah. Sometimes you gotta cut your losses if someone isn't comfortable and you can't warm them up. You just have to move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So if you don't click well with someone, don't force it. It'll make things a lot harder on all parties.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That happens a lot with photography of children. Sometimes there are just kids who just don't like getting their photo taken, and there's nothing you can do. And that's when you just gotta stand up and say, listen, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
I feel like you're putting the kid in trouble there.
You gotta, though, because otherwise you're gonna be, for me, when I do my photography, I charge per the hour. And if the kid's not cooperating, I'd feel bad if it went into 2 hours and we only got like 5 shots. Now, I wouldn't want to, drain the customer's money just because the kid doesn't want their photo taken that day. That in situations like that, the best thing to do is provide a free reschedule and probably a discount just to keep customers happy. That's what I would do at least.
Yeah, I could imagine a bigger company would be hesitant to do something like that. But.
Yeah, a bigger company, no. When I worked at Picture People, if the kid wasn't cooperating after 20 minutes, you basically say bye.
Yeah.
But when I do my own company stuff, my own business, I'm a bit more lenient.
Well, yeah, you're more understanding.
Yeah, I always feel so bad, like if Senna's acting up or whatever during shoots or videos.
It happens, though.
They have pictures of her crying. But she was like a little baby. She was like 1. But I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know it's so much harder to shoot kids. Like, oh my god.
The easiest age to actually shoot is newborn, believe it or not.
They just lie there or sleep.
Exactly. They're just sitting there, and you're like, that'll work.
I was so upset because when Senna was born, this really big newborn photographer that shoots a lot called Zoe Higley or something, wanted to shoot her for free.
Mm-hmm.
But she was still too little to, the doctor wouldn't let her to go out, and I was like with my C-section, I'm like, oh, I can you come to me? And she wouldn't, but I always regret not getting those little, cause she had newborn pictures in the hospital.
Yeah.
But she didn't have those classic ones, in a little basket and whatever. But, she was really, really good, so I was really honored that she wanted to shoot her for free. But, I put Senna's health and safety first and listen to the doctor.
Of course.
Yeah, that's always the most important thing.
Mother doesn't. To reiterate about what you did with Senna, when I was shooting the video, when I was shooting the video for Senna's birthday, what was it, 3 months ago?
Yeah, April, huh?
Yeah. So every time I would point the camera at her, she would turn away and say no.
Aww.
It was so cute, and I wish I got more of that, but at the same time, it was a little discouraging because it wasn't it was just discouraging because I thought when I was younger, back in the day, I used to be really good with kids. Why is my voice breaking? I used to be really good with kids, so I thought I could do a much better job than I actually did. Yeah. Or maybe it just has to.
And it's not you. I don't think you should take it personally. Kids go through stages. Right now,
no, for
we
sure.
went to Castle Point. there was a little photography booth there, and she just wanted to get shot nonstop. Like she didn't want to move. Like she was like, picture, Tonya, and she was like, Senna, there's other people. Like get the hell out of here. So now like it depends her mood. If she's hungry, if she's tired, if she doesn't feel like it, she's just being a turd. As I call it. Usually she's a sweetheart, but if she's tired or hungry, like she's hangry.
Yeah, I could imagine it getting easier with experience. I don't really have much experience taking pictures of kids.
I can tell you, it's the experience comes with being not, I wouldn't say calm, but not worried around kids, because kids pick up on, like, if you're feeling anxious about your own capabilities of taking photos of them, kids pick up on that a lot faster and react very differently than adults do. So as long as you remain confident and are like, you got to be happy, you have to be smiley, you have to be happy, but not too happy.
No, but you also got to be playful with them as well.
Exactly. You got to remember they're kids, and you got to be that way all the up till around the age of, like, I'd say 16, 17 is when you can be like, listen, I'm a professional. I'm taking your photo. Just, just listen to me, please. And normally they'll be like, all right, I'll listen.
Yeah, but definitely kids feel vibes. So if you don't feel comfortable, they're not gonna feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Love when there's clowns that make cosplay photo shoots. Just love it.
So what do you call it? Eugene has a question for everybody.
Okay.
He wants to know what everyone's favorite cosplay photographer is, and I'm pretty sure why he's at. No, why he's
EMCP.
EMCP.
All right, I'm gonna have to say I have two. I'm gonna tie it. EMCP and KG photography. I like them both for different reasons.
I only know personally. I only know one cosplay photographer. I mean, I know a bunch of models. I don't know I'm gonna look it up. I do like your stuff, Eugene. Don't worry about that. But I'm looking up the name of her cosplay right now on Instagram because I don't want to give the wrong name. But someone else fill up the silence so I don't feel as awkward.
This beeping on Facebook is really.
Eugene wants to know what the reasons why that I like both of them. I think I don't know how to explain it. Eugene has like this classic photography vibe, I guess. I don't know how to. I'm not a photographer. I don't know how to explain it. And then KG is kind of like dramatic, I guess, in a way. Everything looks like, I don't know, there's drama. Like there was one that he did for Future Diary that it looked like straight out of the anime. It was really grungy and stuff, and the colors were really vibrant. I like the vibrancy he has. And Eugene, he has a lot of emphasis on like the person's face, and it always looks like really beautiful and soft.
For sure.
I don't know. I did the best I could. That's what I could say.
I don't really know KG's photography. You'll have to show me the
Sure.
Is KG photography?
Not right now because I'm talking.
Is KG photography the one that did Keisha's most recent one, the one that she won with?
The most.
That was the one?
He did Jago. He did Jago for her.
Oh, I don't know that.
But is that the photographer who did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like their work. That photo came out really good.
Yeah.
Oh, he was at the Cosplay Masquerade too. He did Lesbian Lolita's picture, which I had up for a little bit.
No.
Christina Marie Fontaine too. She did like a Morty adaptation, which was really cute. I really like his studio shots a lot, and I like Eugene's like outdoor shots. So I guess it's outdoor versus studio too.
Yeah, maybe. It feels like KG does more like exactly what you said, more grungy. It's not a lot of VFX type of grungy. It's more like natural grunge.
Yeah.
If any photographers know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think he like enhances it a little bit, like.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, almost every photographer does it.
Yeah.
This is Lightroom, basically.
I can't find the person's photography page, and I don't want to say their real name because, well, you know, people are very particular about that one. But that's one. I do have a few cosplay models I'm fond of. Obviously, Jen, Digi. I've seen your stuff. You know, it's good. Obviously, there's I just saw her cosplay. There's one that I did some photos of back in 2012, and I haven't been able to find her new cosplay page. So if anyone watching this, or if you guys know, her original name back in 2012 was Pinky Boo, and she did Pinkaboo. Pinky Boo. She did Pinkie Pie for BronyCon 2012. Her stuff was really good. And then there's, that's what it is. Ashley Lynn. Well, Jen, you know Ashley.
Oh.
ALJ Cosplay. All of her stuff is amazing.
Oh, okay, yeah. She's featured in some of my events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen her stuff until she actually got featured in
So I guess since we're on that, what is your guys' like cosplayer that you look up to and why? Cosplay model.
That we look up to, or?
Well, that you like. I mean, if you're a model, obviously you look up to them. So.
Well, for me, Yaya Han, obviously.
Yeah.
She is one of the more popular. But aside from that, someone who's not as popular, Keisha is really good.
Oh, Keisha, Chaos, if you're listening in.
Yeah, Keisha Chaos.
If we're talking about someone that I look up to, I have two people. I will just say their first names because I don't know their cosplay names, but they're two friends of mine, and if they might be watching this, they might not. My friend Marisa and Lisa, they both do photography. My friend Marisa recently did a Hinata cosplay, which was perfect. My friend Lisa does all kinds of cosplay, and Lisa specifically, she's been knocked down a lot of times, and no matter how many times she gets knocked down, she always gets back up, and I completely admire that about her. And my friend Marisa, she just has she's always happy, like always. Anytime she does cosplay, she's always happy, she's always smiling, and that's like you, Anniver, you were saying you wanted someone who was more energetic, who brought that character out. That's what Marisa does for all of her cosplays. And that, I really admire her for that.
All right, you'll have to introduce me to her.
Marisa. Wait, you know, is it No, it's not Marisa Kovac.
No.
She's a go-go dancer. I don't think so.
No. I do know. I don't know if she still does that. I'm not going to say it because I don't know if she still does that. Jen, I already told you who I'm talking about.
Yeah, leave us out of it, okay?
Yeah, no, that I don't think she does that anymore.
Okay, what about you two? Who do you look up to for cosplay?
Oh, did you ask me or Erin?
Yeah, both of
I
you.
don't get the names right.
All right, I'll go first while she looks it up. As far as like famous, of course Yaya Hanbaba, but I really love Yuffie Bunny because I know her personally, and she's like wicked talented. She's been around forever, and she has like a heart of gold, and like even the first event she came to help me out, you know, when I was nobody, and I had absolutely no money, no following and everything. She actually helped like set it up and the food and everything, and she actually responds to my emails when I like try to reach out to her for events or anything, and she gives me advice. She's been on the podcast. Like she's like a total sweetheart, and she's local. And then of course like you, Anniver, personal friend too that I think is awesome, and that will be, you know, Yaya Han and Yuffie one day is definitely Keisha KS as well.
For sure.
She's only been doing it for a year, and
she's already
yeah, she's like already breaking boundaries and doing like amazing things with Warbler, which I still don't know what the heck that is. A bunch of other things. She won like the Cosplayer Monthly magazine. And she has like such great support, even though it's like a small, tight-knit community. She speaks her mind. She's very sweet and cuddly, and you know, inside, even though she's acts so hardcore, whatever, outside and badass.
You're giving away her secret.
Yeah, Sorry, no, she's badass all the time. Don't mess with her ever. But yeah, I would say those are definitely my two.
Yeah, you remember the? Sorry, I'll let you finish it a little bit. You remember the poster shoots that I wanted to do? I had Keisha in mind when I was thinking about that. And
Oh yeah, definitely reach out to her.
I still haven't reached out to her. I'll do it myself. I don't want you to take that.
My husband wants to interview her for Shack News, and I'm like, just do it already. She's like, yeah, before she becomes really famous. Because she did Killer Instinct and whatever, so
Yeah.
and they even retweeted her, so that was pretty huge.
Sorry, what were you gonna say, Erin?
Of course, Yaya Han. Also, Monica Lee, who also did the Heroes of Cosplay TV show with Yaya. And then there is
You know, sorry, somebody else who reminded me from Heroes of Cosplay. Got her name. I had it at the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Go ahead.
And also, maybe I have to look up. It's a Filipina cosplayer, Elodia Gosia Fao. I'm gonna butcher her name. I feel so bad.
Type it, maybe I can pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah, the person I was thinking about that I lost the name was Chloe Dykstra. Any of you know her? She's a YouTuber.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was also in Heroes of Cosplay. Her dad actually was one of the prop designer for the Star Wars movies, the original Star Wars movies. Yeah, and yeah, that's basically her. I mean, have you ever seen that GIF of this cosplayer who turns from Sailor Moon to Princess Peach?
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, that's Chloe
Sounds
Dykstra.
familiar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Chloe Dykstra. And my fan just stopped working.
So we're gonna start wrapping things up. We might have a part 2 of this because I think there's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We're just really slow
And maybe
thinkers.
when Eugene isn't, busy
Outside.
and occupied.
At a party, on a train, and doing a shoot all at the same time.
Yeah, while there's a shootout somewhere. So, so let's see. What would you, let's say, if you're a model, would want to, give out to photographers, like a word of advice or something you would want photographers to know how to treat models, or and the same with photographers versus a model. Like, what would you ask of them?
Generally, us cosplayers do want pictures, and we love when photographers approach us. Even if we don't have the time, it's just nice to recognize that someone wants to take a picture of us. So don't be shy, and I prefer when the photographer tells me what to do at a certain point, because it just shows his confidence and experience, and I just feel like it's going to be a much better photo shoot than it would be if I had directed the whole thing.
Sorry
Okay.
about the dog barking.
And let's see, and then I'll go to make more sense, and then the photographers.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of what Erin says too. Definitely don't be shy. We want pictures taken. And if you see, like, maybe a model or a cosplayer, maybe that you normally wouldn't shoot, maybe may not have like the most amazing cosplay or whatnot. Give her a chance. You never know. I feel like I talk to a lot of cosplayers too who feel like they don't get as much love. It might help them in the future, and it might be good karma for you guys. But yeah, definitely, ask people to take pictures of them, regardless of whatnot.
Yeah.
Be honest and open and respectful with the cosplayers always. Ask them, if it's okay for them, to, even if you want to touch their hair or whatever, be like, oh, do you mind? Just so they don't get creeped out or whatever.
Yeah.
And but basically all that, and just keep growing and keep moving. Morgan, for models?
I can't really think of anything. Really. I mean, I've never really. encountered a situation where a model didn't know what they were doing, I guess you could say. I guess from the photographer's standpoint, if we're ever, I guess this is one. It doesn't happen as you get more experience, you get more equipment, and Aniver, you can probably vouch for this one. If we're ever fiddling with our camera and adjusting the settings, just be patient, because sometimes,
for sure.
sometimes, you know, especially during outdoor photography, we might set up our camera to be for a certain lighting, and then all of a sudden clouds roll in, and we got to adjust a bunch of stuff. Depending on the camera, we can normally do it in a single button press. Sometimes it takes like 15 button presses. So if you ever see us messing around with our camera, everything is okay. We're just changing settings. The photos are fine. Nothing bad is going on. We're just adjusting the settings so everything comes out okay.
For sure. I want to stress that be patient with your photographer.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you might have a certain way in mind. Be prepared to change your ideas. When you're going into a shoot, like even if it's like a studio shoot or an outdoor shoot, whatever, like everybody has their own ideas. Even if you communicated like exactly what you want, a photographer might have a new idea that came up, or like you on your way there had a new idea that came up. Don't be afraid to speak it, and don't be open to changing your ideas, and you know, be flexible basically.
Exactly. Meet halfway. You know, try new things, all that sort of thing.
And I think as a model, you have to literally be flexible with some of the positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Erin.
Yeah, especially like Erin with her split.
You want to see a trick?
All right, sure.
Are you gonna? Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
I know that's exactly what she was going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention before I go to, oh boy.
My legs are
I
hurting
should
looking
hire
at
her
that.
as like a contortionist, right?
Yeah.
You know, that would look amazing with Harley Quinn costume.
Yeah.
You're ready, your mind is going. So, Digi basically would like that a photographer tells her, and I believe this too, if her makeup is messed up, if her wigs needs to be fixed, just to make sure everything is fine before shooting. And I usually ask photographers too, like, you know, how's everything? Is my wig okay? Are my bunny ears on properly? Like, what's
Yeah, and be honest. If the wig does not look good and it looks like it's like over here, tell
like
us.
your top is showing or something, or your lipstick on.
That reminds me of a shot I took at Anime Next a couple of weeks ago. I was taking a picture, I was taking a video of Supersonico, and her helmet was a little crooked, and I didn't even notice until I got home and checked the footage on my computer. And that really sucked because she did an amazing job with that cosplay. She had the entire console and everything. Oh my god.
Yeah, it could be the smallest thing that could ruin
just
a picture.
really threw
don't.
the shot off.
And then also, I would like to mention, because it happened to me, if you're shooting a photographer and you see someone do inappropriate and the model doesn't notice, tell the model.
Yeah.
They don't notice. That always helps.
That's actually a very good point, and I think this goes for even outside of photography. If anywhere, even, not just at conventions, if you see something, say something. You know, doesn't, you know, just say something. If you see something, say something.
Yeah. Not find out after the fact when there's, you know, you could have prevented that or done something about it before it was too late.
For sure.
So yeah, it could work. If you see something, say something. If the lipstick's running or someone's trying to grab your boob, you know, see something, say something. One's a little worse than the other.
Also, like photographers, protect your models.
Yes.
Stand up for them, because they're not always gonna be out there for themselves. You know, they do look to photographers for guidance.
Oh.
And that also means, you know, emotional guidance as well.
I did just think of something. This is advice for models, cosplayer models, and photographers in general. If you ever do recently a big shoot and a lot of people like it, reverse image search all of your images so you can figure out where they're being posted and what's being said about it.
Oh wow.
Because you don't want.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's always a good idea to do that, at least on the model's end, because sometimes photos end up in places you don't want them to be, and
For sure.
it'd be good to remove them if they did.
Yeah. I was on RussianBride.com or something. I'm
Oh my.
Right.
on point.
I didn't expect you to say that one. I'll say that.
Yeah, I know. Probably if I search my photos now, they'll be in really weird places. I had to contact websites and be like, take this down right now. Like ones that didn't even like work anymore, but were still up. Like
Yeah.
I had to go through. Basically, my last name was Safanova, and I'm kind of happy I changed it because my pictures were like everywhere, and like for jobs and stuff, I didn't want
Yeah.
it. And then said things said about them that weren't true, and in weird spots. So that's over with. I'm a whole new name. Fresh start. All right, guys. Well, we're probably gonna do a second part of this. I think one day
Part
soon.
2. Maybe
Next week. I want to focus on basically a more serious topic on cell phone, Facebook addiction. We're going to talk about things like that, the internet, and the good and the bad that comes with it.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I like doing serious, touchy subjects, but it also helps.
I wrote a 12-page term paper on that. I'm ready.
So the method that you're watching it right now, get off. Stop it.
Yeah, in fact,
and I also
the best way to support that specific podcast, watch it after the day. I'm kidding. Please watch it. Please watch it live.
So we're basically going to give you tips if you're dealing with this, which I think everybody has some form of addiction.
Oh, for
Especially
sure.
when it comes with this thing that's constantly buzzing and ringing and whatnot. Like how to help with that and how to put it down and focus on reality and life in front of you and avoid all the drama and stuff that goes on in social media. And so we're going to talk about that. And then I might do another special show the same week maybe for heroes and villains since I'm having the after party. Well, we'll see about that. It's going to be July 2nd. So yeah, I might have more info on that. So
Make sure
thank
you look it
everybody.
up on Facebook.
Yes, it's on Facebook. It's in Hotel Victor Bar from 7 to 12 a.m. and that's in Hoboken. So I hope you guys all come out and we'll be seeing you again. If you have any questions, feel free to comment when I post a video. And I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Matasta ne!
Bye.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Adios.